few days ago I made this video called How My Fearful Nervous System Responds to Safety. And I shared with you about an encounter I had with a person that shook me up completely. And as you could see in the video, there were quite a lot of emotions involved in that process. And I felt completely shaky that day. And I think that lasted for about 2 days. And that day where I felt so shaky, my nervous system was like, okay, what does this mean, this meeting? Who is this person gonna be? Like, they touch me so deeply. What's this about? And I was so lucky to meet my sister group in the evening on the day I felt so shaky, and I had wonderful sharing and reflections with them, and they gave me some great input. And one of the things I notice is when my nervous system is so shaken up by someone, when it's being touched so deeply by someone, that of course it shakes up all my attachment patterns that I talked about in other videos. Again, I'm not going to do that here, but it's shaking up my attachment patterns, and they come into play. And I've been noticing, this time more clearly, but I've been noticing that more often, is that when someone is touching me so deeply and when my attachment patterns are shaken up and my nervous system is wired up, then there is a line of thought coming from pattern that wants to put meaning to a meeting. It wants to put meaning, and it wants to label it. So if someone is touching me deeply, I still notice that there are patterns running that want to see if this person is the one. Is this the one who's gonna like see me fully, acknowledge me fully, save me, be the perfect, be like the prince on the white horse, as we say, like the Mr. Right, Mrs. Right, the how do you call it? Like, this Cinderella complex comes in. A bit. It's happening. And I was aware of that. Happening. And I was also aware, like, I'm not even sure if I want to put that person there. But there is this subconscious underlying drive that wants to get the confirmation from the other person, that wants them to tell me that they love me, that I'm the best person in the world. Like, there is still this desire to be special, and maybe to be the most special person in the world. And what it does is that it completely limits the options. It completely limits the truth of what's there. So this is just one of the things that I noticed that was still like kind of in the background running, like trying to direct, even though if it was not what I wanted, not what my soul and my body and my mind wanted with this person, there was still this background story running of like, let's see how far are we going to get with this. And that didn't feel good. So I went to my sister group, and they responded to me like, hey, you're being touched. Well, that's awesome. Can you celebrate that? And just, honor that you're being touched. And can you, no matter what this connection might unfold into, can you keep your heart open? Can you keep your heart open and let go of any outcome? And that was such a beautiful advice. I actually knew, but I needed to hear it again. So the next 2 days later, I was going to meet this person that shook up my system, and we met. And I was there, and I felt so calm. I felt so excited about meeting them, and I felt so calm and detached. Like really detached in the foreground and in the background of what this could be. And it was a beautiful meeting in which also the other person's heart was very much impacted. And so there was this beautiful mutual impact of the heart that shook us both up. Me a few days before, their heart some days later. But both of us, we had this big, massive impact happening. And that is so beautiful. And that is nourishing me in so many ways. And I have no idea where this is going to unfold into. I have no idea, and I don't mind. I really don't mind. we haven't been speaking since this meeting 2 days ago, and I don't feel an urge. I don't feel like this pressure into consciously or subconsciously put it into a mold or to put it into some kind of direction. It's more like sitting back and breathing, like going more into the feminine way, like sitting back, relaxing my chest, relaxing the front of my body, and just breathe and be like, yeah, I was impacted. We were both impacted strongly. We might still be impacted strongly, and maybe this is the whole purpose of this meeting, is to just be impacted and show ourselves while being impacted. And I've shown myself in this situation to this person every moment. I've showed the impact. I showed the flavor of the impact. I shared the truth of the impact. And there was space for them to do that too. And that is, to me, that's the most intimate we can be with someone, is to be so real, to show all the impact. You know, and it felt vulnerable. You know, I could feel even this background stories running of, you know, the bullied girl in high school who would love a boy and show that and then being bullied for that. Or the times when I showed my heart to, you know, relationships or friendship, doesn't matter, that I showed my, or to a co-creator, that I showed my heart. It happened in co-creations, professional co-creations too, that I showed my heart and it got trampled. Or was not received. And there is a fear in that too, like, hey, if I expose myself so much, what's going to happen? And I feel super grateful for this meeting of a mutual impact, a mutual strong impact, and a mutual receiving of each other, honoring the vulnerability of being impacted and what it does to us, to our nervous system, but also to our hearts and to our souls and to our bodies. To just honor all of that and to see where it wants to go, but to really let it unfold from a place of freedom and not from a place of, on any level, trying to mold it into something that our parents might want it to be or might fear it to be, because that is also something that happened in this interaction, is that sometimes it's our fear or our desires that like kind of like push us towards certain doors, or that kind of like shut certain doors because of the impact. And yeah. So that's where I am now. I'm in this very calm place and not attached to where this is going at all. Like if this is it, it's great, it's fine. And I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating my vulnerability. I'm celebrating their vulnerability, and I'm celebrating the openness and the intimacy of being real. So that's where I am now. Wishing you an amazing day. And yes, please share with me how this impacts you. What's your experience with sharing yourself so openly to someone? And sending so much love and appreciation to you all. And warm kisses on your tender hearts and your tender souls and your tender nervous systems. Mwah.